Good afternoon, everybody. The first author, Katerina, had got fever yesterday, so I present this study for her. And the topic is about the interaction between the global trade and global pollution and the global health impact. As we can see, in 2010, there are 100 million deaths per year for the US. And for the 100,000 deaths, 85% is related to the cardiovascular disease. And as we also know, the air pollution is different for different regions. This is a picture for Beijing in China. As we know, currently China is experiencing the heavy air pollution in the world. And actually, every year, there are 3.2 million deaths in the world, and about 65% happen in Asia. Let's take the clothing, for example. As we know, what we use in the US, all the products maybe not all produced locally. Some of our computer or cell phone may be produced in China or in India. For the clothing case, we can see that major importing countries are the US and the European countries. And for the export, we can see that major producer of the clothing and major exporter are the Asian countries, mainly China, India. And we can see that nations are interrelated with the global trade. So there is a need to link and quantify the effect of global trade and the consumption with the health burden induced by the PM 2.5 as the global trade distances the PM emission from production with the final consumption of product. So in this study, we used the environmentally intended multi-regional input-output model to quantify the effect of global trade on the PM 2.5 related deaths for each nation. And the database of for the multi-regional input-output table comes from the Euro database, which is developed by the University of Sydney. And the base year is 2010. And this database covers 190 nations and about 15,000 region sectors. And this graph shows the visualization of the global trade network, shows how the product and the economic transaction between the 15,000 country sectors. And for the human health impact, we in the Euro database there is PM10 emission. We have to convert the PM10 emission into the PM 2.5 emission by the fraction factor. And when we have the PM 2.5 emission, we also have to calculate how much PM 2.5 is intake by the population. So we use the PM 2.5 intake fraction to calculate the inhaled PM 2.5 by the population in each nation. And this slide shows the intake fraction for cities in the world. We can see for the US, New York City had higher intake fraction than the Detroit, Ann Arbor, and Lansing City. And also, if we compare the US with Asia, we can see that Asian city had much higher intake fraction than the US city. We will have calculated the PM 2.5 intake by the population. We use the factor to convert the inhaled PM 2.5 emission into human deaths. This is our result. We aggregate the 190 nations to 6 regions to show our results. This is the per capita consumption, how per capita consumption contributes to the global economic production. As we can see, North American consumer has the largest contribution. Its unit final consumption costs the largest global production. And also, we can see that the economic production in Asia caused by the final consumption of North American consumer is near the same. the value of the economic production caused by Asian consumer locally. And then we see we come to the result for the deaths. The deaths in each nation caused by the final consumption of other nations. We can see that the majority of the deaths happen in Asia, and for the North American consumer, we can see about 23,000 deaths happen locally in the US, and also 30,000 deaths happen in Asia due to the consumption of North American consumer. So now we can see that the consumption of developed nation is in part responsible for the human deaths in developing nations. So we have to take action to reduce the PM2.5 emission. Actually, there is good PM control technology, and we can see that the best available control technology has the efficiency of 99% to 99.9%. It's a high removal efficiency, and also we compare that if we remove 1 ton of particulate matter, it costs about $50 to $500. And then for the comparison, we can see that if we want to avoid one death, we have to cost maybe $1,700 to $20,000. So we can see that to remove the PM from the production side is a good deal to reduce the human health caused by the PM. So our conclusion is that we find that the PM2.5 emission has caused a large number of human deaths in the world. And also we found that developed nations, especially the US and the European countries, are in part responsible for the deaths in Asia. So also we have to take action to reduce PM2.5 emission. So also the comparison this shows that reduce PM2.5 emission is a good deal. Then we spend money to reduce the deaths. So we need to take the action to reduce PM, such as we implement the PM removal technology in the production side in the electricity generation in China, and also we have to change our consumption behavior in the US or in other developed nations. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
We should open it up for questions. Anybody?
Is your model capable of explaining, let's say there are 1,000 units of human health impact in China caused by producing clothes imported by North American countries? And is your model capable of explaining how much of that human health impact attributable to which country? Like, you can actually trace back using MRIO. So each country's import is causing human health impact in the exporting countries.
Do you mean use the model to know the import of a particular country? Maybe it costs the human death in all other countries. Do you mean that?
So,
well, the answer is yes. Yeah, you can do it.
Okay.
Track everything from the supply chain.
So do you have to know how much?
You mean the detailed supply chain path from the exporting to the importing?
So if my cloth is made of imported from China,
yeah,
and wearing my clothes is causing some human health impact in China, and your model is tracing back to that.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that at the sector level and also at the product level. we have also conducted uncertainty analysis and sensitivity analysis, but not present in this slide. Our sensitivity analysis shows that the change in the PM 2.5 emission in a country is impact is mainly in this country, and it has very few impact on the result of other countries. For the case of China, if we change China's data for maybe 10%, the result for China may be change nearly 8 to 9%. But the result of other countries such as the US and other countries, the change is below 4%.
I have a question for you. What sort of policy recommendations would you make based on this data to reduce deaths? Who maybe should pay? So pollution control is going to cost money. Who should be responsible for that?
Yeah, the policy implication is mainly from two aspects. The first is from the production side, we can know that which sector in which country emits lots of PM. So we have best available technology, so we can promote the technology use in those sectors in those countries. And maybe as the emission mainly happens in Asia, which are developing countries, they maybe have very limited ability for the technology and for investment. But the developed country is responsible, partly responsible for the human deaths in developing countries. So from another aspect, we can say that developed countries also have responsibility to help developing countries to reduce PM. So maybe we can encourage the developed country to transfer technology or capital to developing country. So maybe it's also related with the allocation of responsibility between the producer and consumer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Question. Do you think that we can increase the price of the exported products in Asia so much? So if the price was $10, if now we increase it into $20, would that be a solution to it?
Actually, this study focused on the environmental side. If we increase the price, maybe we do not know it is a good option to reduce the PM, but also it's related to the maybe economic growth such as the GDP and also the job opportunity. Maybe for China, if China increase the price of a product, maybe computer or clothes, maybe its export will reduce, and also job opportunity and the GDP will decrease. So to evaluate if a policy is a good option, we have to consider many aspects, not only the PM. So we can only say according to the PM emission, we can propose what kind of policy. But in the implication of what kind of policy, we have to incorporate maybe carbon dioxide, water use, and job opportunity, also related with other such value added.
Can you advance the slide? So I just want to explain the number on the lower right corner. The 4-digit number, that's the number of deaths due to air pollution since this morning. The number on the top, single-digit number, that's the number of deaths since starting this presentation. Because right now it's reset. So during this presentation, there was like about 10 people died because of air pollution. Worldwide. No, I'm sorry. Either it's in US or in worldwide.
It's worldwide.
Worldwide.
But it doesn't work smoothly on this computer, so it doesn't change.
Right.
Yeah.
Anybody else? We should thank our speaker. And then I'll introduce the second speaker. It's also Sai.
Yeah. This presentation focuses on the construction of an open access environmentally intended input-output database for China. First, I will explain what is the environmentally intended input-output database. I call it EEIO database in this presentation. This database shows the interaction between the economy and the environment. And the first part is an input-output model. It describes the economy. It shows the economic transaction between sectors within an economy. It can describe the product transaction between sectors, and also the product transaction from producing sector to the final consumer. So, and the second part is the environmental account. Environmental account describes the direct resource use by each sector and the direct pollutant emission by each sector. So the EEIO database describes the interaction between the economy and the environment. The EEIO database captures the full supply chain between within the economy. It can show a supply chain from one sector and then supply to another one, and then maybe pass several sectors and at the final consumer. So they capture the full supply chain effect of the supply chain within the economy. So it's widely used to assess the environmental footprint of economic activity. Environmental footprint here means both the direct and indirect environmental impact caused by the final production activity or final consumption activity. And I list two examples for the EEIO database. The first one is the EEIO LCA database developed by the CMU. It's widely used by scholars doing life cycle assessment. And another one is the CIDA database. It is developed by Professor Shen Wangsu, and is also used popularly in a life cycle assessment study. And this slide shows the application of the input-output database in environmental study. And I searched the topic for input-output and environment, and scope is for NCI and ISSST journal. And the research field is environmental science. But we can see in recent years, the application of the EEIO database in the global study for environmental research is increasing. And so come to China, the EEIO database is also increasingly used for study in China. There are already many types of EEIO database for China, such as for the energy, resource, water, and carbon, mercury, and particulate matter. And also I searched the topic for China. Maybe it's not the full publication, maybe there are also other publications such as in the research field, such as the environmental economics or ecology. And this is only the search result for environmental science. In recent years, it's also an increasing trend for the application of EEIO database in China. And so there are already many databases for China. Currently, we found 4 disadvantages for the precious EEIO database for China. The first one is they are not open access, so scholars have to repeatedly contract the specific EEIO database for China. For example, many scholars doing the carbon dioxide emission in China, so they have to, one scholar contracted a specific EEIO for carbon in China, but it's not open access. Another scholar have to contract it once again, and maybe they use different approach. So this causes the second disadvantage is that they are inconsistent with each other, but maybe they use different approach. But for the data during 1997 and 2003, it is reported that the coal consumption data in China is underestimated. So some scholars maybe scale up the co-consumption data, but others don't. So they use different approach, maybe have different the data for the environmental account of the EEIO database for China. And the third one is that as existing study focused on specific environmental flow. So their database is for specific environmental account, maybe only for energy and carbon or for water resource. And the last one is that usually this study focuses on 1 year or maybe 2 or 3 years. And usually for 1 year, they obtain data from a published article, and that article maybe only contains the data for 2002. So in the contraction of the EEIO database for China in 2002, I have data maybe for a specific pollutant. But in other years, such as 2007 or maybe in 1990, this data is unavailable. So if I want to update the database for another years, maybe it's not very easy. In this study, we contracted the EEIO database for China, and this database is open access and also is consistent for multiple years. It also contains many environmental accounts, and also the estimation method is transparent, and also we provide multiple sector classification for the database. Currently, it covers 4 years. Currently, China has benchmark input-output table for these 4 years. So we covered these 4 years, and we will update it when new benchmark IO table are published. And the sector classification is the first one is the original sector classification, which is over 100 sectors for each year. And the second sector format is the 45 sector classification. This classification is consistent with the classification for environmental statistics in China. The environmental statistics in China is in the 45 sector classification. And the third is the 91 sector classification. This classification maximizes the sector resolution to ensure the temporal consistency. And for environmental accounts, it includes the resource extraction and the pollutant emission. For resource extraction, there are 256 types, and for pollutants, there is 31 types. So this is the summary of the construction method. We need two categories of data. The first one is the benchmark input-output table. It is directly from the statistical department of China. And the second type of data is the environmental account. Environmental account includes the resource extraction and pollutant emission. And they are made from two types of methods. The first one is government statistics, which is published every year. And the second one is when the data from government statistics are unavailable, maybe for PM and mercury emissions. We use peer-reviewed estimation methods that are published in peer-reviewed journals. So this is a summary, and I didn't list the detailed equation and method here, but we will provide an introduction and a manual in our website to show how the database is constructed and their data sources. So we demonstrate our database based using the production-based accounting and consumption-based accounting method. The production-based accounting is directly from the environmental satellite account, means direct resource use and direct pollutant emission by each sector. So it has the same meaning of the environmental account. And for the consumption-based emission, consumption-based means both direct and indirect emission caused by the final consumption of particular product. So here we have this vector shows the direct emission intensity. It means the direct emission caused by the 1 unit product production in a sector. And this vector shows the total intensity. Total intensity means both direct and indirect emission caused by unitary final demand of a product. And So I list the result for the construction sector, and there's only limited indicator for the illustration. And we can see that for the construction sector, it doesn't directly use the resources. But from the total intensity and the consumption-based result, we can see that although the construction sector doesn't directly use resource, but it induced the resource use in China by using maybe metals or metal such as the electricity and also other kind of product which driven the resource use in China by the supply chain. And also we want to test if our database is reliable. So we compare our database with another database. We use the CIDA database constructed by Professor Wang Su. And we used the carbon dioxide in 2002. For example, we calculated the total intensity for each sector, and we listed the top 15 sector. But we can see that the name of the sector ranking within top 15 are generally consistent with each other between the two databases. Also, there is a difference. One difference is that the value of each sector is different for the two databases. And another one is that in our database, the top 15 sector, we identify more chemical-related sectors than the CIDA database. This difference can be explained from two aspects. One reason is that the emission factor used by the two databases are different. The emission factor used by the CIDA database is from the IPCC guideline published in 1996. And the factor used in our database is from the guideline published in 2006. And another one is that the CIDA database only considers 2 chemical processes during the calculation of carbon emission from industrial production. And our database considers 11 chemical processes. So I think that's explains why we identify more chemical-related sector than the CIDA database. And that slide about the top 15 sector, we also conduct the correlation analysis for all the sectors. As in 2002, the input-output table in China contained 122 sectors. So the correlation analysis shows that the horizontal axis is the ranking of sector based on our database. And the vertical axis is the ranking of sector for the CIDA database. We can see that except for specific sector, generally the ranking of sector are consistent with each other for these two databases. This is for the total intensity of sector. We also conducted the correlation analysis for the consumption base. The consumption base, generally the correlation coefficient is 0.88, and the p-value shows that the significant level of the correlation. If the p-value is smaller than 0.01, it means that the correlation is highly significant. So this is our conclusion. First, we construct an EEIO database for China, which covers a wide range of years, sector classification, and also multiple environmental accounts. Our database is open access, transparent, and comprehensive, also consistent for multiple years. And then we tested the reliability of the database by comparison with another database. The last is the open access website. We will make the database open access, and now we are constructing a website. This website is similar to the website of the EEIO LC database for CMU. And now we provide a temporary link. This is the Excel-based database. From this link, you can download the whole database in Excel format. And we provide two sets of database. The first set is in the unit of US dollar for input-output, and another set is in the Chinese yuan, which is the original unit for the input-output database in China. And now we will provide the final web link for our web-based database in this website, which will be published in the homepage for our research group. Yes, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you for this presentation. I'm wondering, now that you've created an environmentally extended input-output database, what do you think are the requirements for this database to be meaningfully reviewed for accuracy?
You mean the requirements of data or method?
Mainly the assembly of the database. I mean, it's obviously a very daunting problem, and I'm not convinced that any previous environmentally extended input-output database has been adequately reviewed. I was wondering, what do you think is necessary to review your work? I mean, what would you want other people to look at and review your work?
Well, for our database, first we want to just to make all to cover maybe related pollutants and resource in our database. So when we made if we made the database reliable, maybe people can access it. So if we want to do some kind of a study for maybe we want to see the carbon emission footprint of the Chinese sector, so we can refer to this database, not just we calculate the contract the carbon dioxide account by ourselves. And also another thing is that this database has multiple environmental accounts, and you can also use this database to see that for a particular economic activity, if we focus on maybe global change or carbon dioxide, we can also see the unintended consequence and the co-benefit of the particular economic activity. So if we maybe there is some change in a particular economic activity, we can see that if we focus on carbon dioxide, what other co-benefit and other maybe potential problem will be caused. So that's another application. And also the database can be used for by combination with other methods such as structural decomposition analysis to investigate the socio-economic driver of particular environmental emission or resource use. It can all, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean,
so this, first of all, we are sending a paper based on this to a journal which will go through its normal peer review process. That's basic, at least we can do. And then we make this available online. So I hope everybody can, everybody who want to use this can. We will make some mechanisms for people to comment or provide feedback for the whole process of assembling this database. Other than that, I don't have any other good idea, but I'm open to other suggestions.
It's not meant to be a dig against. I mean, obviously, it's a very challenging task to arrange all this data, but it's also from the perspective of reviewing, and even from the CMU product on, it's kind of this sort of fundamental molecular question of how do you know that this number to be.
And there are many, right, that's right. And also another point I want to add is there are many different ways to deal with this kind of database. And different ways are all reasonable from different methods. So what we try to do here is just to make the whole process of how we did this transparent, so that people will understand these numbers obtained from this particular approach, and we might have additional other approaches.
So the intention would be to have some kind of mechanism to receive feedback in some area.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank our speakers again.